Welcome Kerry Char to the Luth Group, the inaugural Kerry Char interview. I've admired your work for years. I think I first saw you on Facebook. I can't remember where or how, but something popped up. I think it was probably my fascination with harp guitars and how such a bizarre thing they are, but I'm so glad they exist, and I'm so glad that you repair them. And you've got a bit of a name for yourself in that area, right?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, worked on quite a few of them.
How?
Yeah, the Greg Miner, right? Greg Miner, who is has that harpguitar.net. So I started years ago, probably 30 years ago, and I started doing work for him, and that's kind of how I got into it anyway. But yeah.
Do you have any opinions on which one's better, like the Gibson carved top or the Dyson or any of the others?
Well, yeah. Well, the Dyer, which the hollow arm one, which they copied. Knudsen was the one that invented the hollow arm, or he took the patent on it, and that's the one that's mostly copied anyway. But they have gosh, dozens and dozens of them. If you want to waste a bunch of time looking at stuff, you can go on that harpguitars.net, and Greg has tried to document all the harp guitars that are known. I mean, and you'd be surprised at how many different kinds there are. And they by the turn of the last century, they kind of fell out of fashion. So Knudsen took his patent up for the hollow arm one in 1880s or something like that, 1880s or 1890s. But that was kind of at the end of the harp guitar thing. By the teens, they're kind of out of fashion mostly, So,
Well,
they're very popular in the 19th century, though.
Yeah, the 1910 to 1919 sort of Gibson, the big Gibsons are you see them for sale quite a fair bit.
Yeah. I have one in the shop. I just got one in this a few days ago. A friend of mine. I'm doing some work on it anyway. One of those big giant. This one's got 10 sub basses, and they actually make them with 12, as many as 12, the Gibsons anyway. So.
Do they all have that UFO thing on the inside, the vibratone or whatever it's called?
Oh, the Visitone or whatever they call that thing.
Yeah.
No, they
don't.
Whatever that thing was called. Yeah. No, that was an optional thing that they put in during that sort of era where Lore was there,
Yeah.
Because I think he's the one that invented that, I think. So that would have been in the 20s. So I'm not sure if I've ever seen, now that I think about it.
It must have been later if he invented it.
Yeah, because he joined the company in the late teens, early 20s or whatever, somewhere.
Yeah, I've read a few mandolin posts about them, and apparently they, like, everyone just takes them out of their Lore mandolins if they want to make it sound a bit brighter and louder.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It is Verzi. I don't know why I was saying Variatone, but it is Verzitone.
Okay, yeah.
Rosy tone. Yeah, they're like a secondary vibrating plate of spruce? Is that the theory behind that? I've never actually seen one.
I've never seen one. I've just seen drawings of them, but yeah, supposedly it does something to the sound. But yeah, most people take them out.
Yeah.
Most people anyway. But I've never seen one for real.
Yeah. That'd be a good kind of marketing phrase. It does something to the sound.
Yeah.
But let's go back to where it all began. You said you were born in Hawaii?
Yeah, I was born in Hawaii, and my family, got a lot of family in Hawaii. My great grandfather migrated to Hawaii in like 1847 or something like that. Or no, I'm sorry, 1874. I get it mixed up.
Wow.
And so we had several generations in Hawaii, and then but my parents moved over to Southern California, look for work and that kind of thing. So I lived in a little town called Gardena, which is right outside of LA. It's about 20 miles, 30 miles south of LA. And then about 30 years ago, we moved up. Cheryl and I had moved up here in Portland. So I'm in Portland, Oregon right now. And anyway, we've been up here ever since.
Does your wife work with you in the workshop?
No, she doesn't actually. No.
Yeah, there's not many couples who do that. Doug and
Yeah.
Sharon do that.
Yeah.
Seems like it works.
Yeah.
Works when it works.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very kind of rare. There's a Canadian couple that that are a couple that do work together. Gosh, I can't remember his name now. Anyway,
Not Dion. I posted on Facebook about this interview, and someone said that Craig Wilson said that you worked together at Franklin Guitars in the 80s, I think.
I did, yeah. Yeah, I worked. I'm sorry.
You were building there with Nick
Kukic, yeah. So yeah, I had been building I started building as a hobby in the mid 80s, and then after I moved up here in like 92 or something like that, 92, 93, and then I met Nick. Nick was actually working here, or he lived here in Portland, and so I asked him if I could work for him, and so I only worked a few days a week with him, with them at the shop there, and Craig was doing an apprenticeship. He had I forget the school that he came out of. He came out of that what's that school? Is it Freeman or Free?
Dave Freeman.
Is that the guy? He's like out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, so he came out of Craig came out of a school, one of those schools, and then he was apprenticing with Nick, and then I worked in Nick's, and now Franklin Guitars. So I worked in there for a little while. Yeah.
Was that they came onto my radar when I used to listen, and still do listen, to a lot of Stefan Grossman and John Remborn. Was that before, or did you work there before or after those guys got Franklin Guitars? Because that's when he became pretty well known, right?
Well, yeah. Well, he got with Stefan pretty early on. That was maybe in the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay.
And then, of course, at that time, I think Stefan had actually moved over to Europe. And because really if you remember that period of time, it was like, it's late 70s, that's disco, and electric guitars were king and all that kind of thing. And so acoustic guitar was really not really that as popular here. So Stefan moved to Europe, and that's where a lot of those guys in Europe, Bert Jansen, all these guys, they all ended up getting Franklin Guitars, And so
was that the Kicking Mule years? When
Kicking Mule, I don't know actually.
The record label. It was, so I think Stefan Grossman was the guy behind that, and he recorded all the acoustic guitar players, and it was one of those sort of records. If you just saw Kicking Mule on the label, you went, I'm going to buy it. Never heard of this guy, but I know it's going to be good music. So
yeah,
the good old days of acoustic recording.
Yeah. No, I worked there. When I worked there, he was making guitars he still made guitars for Stefan, on and off, and I actually worked on some guitars that were Stefan's, that Franklin guitars. but they're in for repairs actually. But he was doing he was making guitars for Woody Man, and anyway, but he's made guitars for a lot of well-known fingerstyle players. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty much Martin copies, right? He doesn't go off on a modern tangent on his builds, I don't think, from memory.
No, not really. I mean, they are, though I wouldn't say that they sound like, I mean, basically I think he was basically the first guy who was making OM copies that I have ever heard of anyway. I mean, this is back in the 70s. And he had been, I forget the store. He was working in the store in Chicago. And they had some OM guitars in there he got, and he was just fascinated with them. So he eventually started making copies of those, and then and that's how Stefan found him anyway. But yeah.
So how did you morph in? So you began as a builder, and then you morphed into repairs, and was that a slow process, or just came with moving to Portland?
Well, I still build about 4 or 5 instruments a year. And I have kind of I just try to build steel nowadays. I mean, I've built many things, but I just try to stick to like steel strings and ukes, and so I still build. I've always built, but so early on when I was a kid, really, somebody gave me a Don Teeters book, his first book on guitar repair, and I was fascinated with it, and so anyway, I built a few of those pipe hand mandolins, those Army Navy style mandolins. I built a couple of those, and then I started building guitars, and the other thing, as far as repairs, the other thing I remember is that you ever hear the story about Bill Monroe and his mandolin, his F5 mandolin, and somewhere in the early 80s, Bill Monroe, I guess he wasn't always the nicest guy or the most liked guy amongst his peers anyway, Bill Monroe, but so somebody snuck into his house, and they got this fire poker, and they basically bashed up. He had 2 lower F5s, and they bashed these things up, and so they sent Gibson reached out to him, and he said, well, just we want to help, why don't you send the pieces over? And so he does. He puts the pieces in a box and sends it over. And Gibson had this guy. His name was Charlie Darrington, I think his name was, and he was one of the R&D guys there. And so they put him on it, and so he basically took, I don't know, like 10 months, to restore this thing. So he restores this thing, and of course they had a big ceremony with Bill and Roe, and Bill was saying that it sounded almost as good as before they bashed this thing up and everything. But anyway, I read it was an article that was in the Frets magazine, and it just kind of blew my mind. They had pictures of it, with all smashed up and everything, and it just really blew my mind. I thought, wow, man, you can. And I thought, I guess you could fix anything or there's somebody out there that knows how to do it anyway. I mean, it just made an impression on me as far as doing repairs and that kind of a thing. As a matter of fact, this year is the 100th anniversary of that mandolin, and I saw this YouTube thing, because it was made July, I forget, July something or other, July 9th or something of 1923. And so this is the 100th year anniversary of that mandolin. So, but the funny thing is, I saw a little documentary they did on YouTube, and they never mentioned that they mentioned that that's the most copied mandolin, the most famous mandolin, and the most copied mandolin. They don't actually mention that thing was bashed up in the mid 80s, and they put it back together, and I guess they're still copying it. So
I guess he's happy that the mandolin got bashed in rather than his kneecaps, which would have been the other alternative.
Yeah, right, right.
So
So
did you uh apprenticeship with somebody in repairs, or
no,
how did you learn the techniques?
uh, I I'd read as much as I could. And and just no, and it's kind of interesting in LA. There's not that many luthiers in LA. It's really a weird thing. But when I lived down there, um, well, I used to do work for different music shops, but there really wasn't anybody that was doing hardly anyone that was doing. There was just a handful of people, meaning that there's maybe that I can think of. There's maybe three people that were doing like high level repair stuff, and they didn't, they had businesses and they didn't really, care about some young kid hanging around, trying to find out about stuff like that. So
This is the 70s you're talking about?
no, this is the 80s. Yeah, I started getting interested in guitars in around the mid 80s, I think, somewhere around there. But still, that I mean, I think even to this day, there's not a ton of guys in LA or repair guy, not compared to Portland anyway, that's for sure. But not many places have as many. I mean, I think you can throw a rock and hit a luthier in Portland here, but there's a lot of people here in the lutherie business.
The 80s was just before the vintage market kind of went crazy, right? Like it was more
True,
than
yeah.
vintage market took off and you could make money as a restorer.
Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is true. So, but
Yeah, I think on Facebook I've seen a Portland lunch, Luthier's lunch or something that you guys do occasionally, which looks fun.
yeah. Mark Roberts is the one that kind of put that together, and we of course we haven't done it for a few years because of COVID and everything. So we haven't done one of those for a while.
Hmm.
But yeah, we
And
have we have this. They call it the Northwest Hand Built Instrument Show. They would have up here every year, and it was a show with hand builders, or builders of all kinds, actually, of acoustic instruments. Well, no, actually, all kinds of instruments, and that started in '78, and it's been going for all that time. So, and it's primarily people from the Northwest, so that tells you how many people are up here in the Northwest doing stuff like that.
yeah, how far is
Yeah.
Portland from LA? I should know that.
Oh, I don't know. It's a 1,200 mile,
Okay.
1,200 miles, something like that. It takes
Right.
about, if you drove from here, it takes about 17 hours to drive it there or something like that.
Hmm. Well, there's not much surfing in Portland, right? And there's a lot of surfing in LA. Is that right? Sort of.
Well, there's surfing on the coast out. There's a little bit of surfing on the coast there. Actually, they actually have a big wave contest out here. Believe it or not, Lincoln City. What that is? A big wave contest where they
Yeah.
actually tow you into the wave. They have some reef that's out there outside of Lincoln City that it's actually right about now when they have it in November, I think, when they have it, and it's got a it's a there's a purse and everything, and they have a 5 day window, and you have to be, if you're a participant, you have to be ready to go within these 5 days, and then when they give you the high sign, you got a day and a half to get there.
Yeah, I've seen a few documentaries on big wave surfers, and they're all absolute nut jobs as far as I'm concerned. Like they're just a 50-foot wave. It's one of the
Oh
most
yeah.
scary things I can imagine.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you help or teach at the Charles Fox School,
I
whatever.
do. Yes, American School of Lutherie. So yeah, I teach repair at his. He recruited me to do that. So anyway.
Okay. Is that a day class, or is it an ongoing thing, or you have like a day of headstock repair or How does teaching repair work?
It's like 7 days. So it's, yeah, 7 days. Yeah. So
Oh, it's like
anyway,
a course that people do.
yeah, it's a course, and they're all really small. I mean, when Charles moved up here from down south, he really pared it down. I guess he used to have a pretty big school in the day down there, but he's really kind of pared it down. So they're really small classes, not more than the repair class. We have not more than 6 people, and we try to do as much hands-on type stuff as we can. And anyway, and a lot of repair stuff. It's I mean, all you can do is just introduce techniques, and I mean, so that they even know that there's sometimes there's a lot of techniques and things that they don't even know about, so it's almost an introduction to that. We had a part two for a while too, which was that was a little more hands-on, and we would teach like neck resets. We'd have everybody in the class do a neck reset and that kind of thing. And so anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you could teach before you even got into the woodworking stuff, like dressing frets and common repairs that people would see. And then
Yeah, well, Charles usually teaches that part of it. He has them. He goes through. They do like 3 fret jobs. So he does. He kind of teaches the whole frets and nuts and saddles and setups and that kind of thing. He doesn't do repairs, so he doesn't teach any of the other cracks and dings and touch up and all the other stuff like that.
that's what the Luth group's for.
There you go. Yeah.
Watching Ian Davlin's magic fingers do his color work, and
Oh,
and
yeah. I want to
Doug,
learn more about that.
yeah, you'll have to watch some of the old. You haven't really done a color touch up thing, Ian, for a while, have you?
No, I haven't. It's there's only so many colors. So
Yeah.
but no, we could probably do one again. There's a few things that we thought about doing, but then we got sidetracked. But after looking at the Gibson headstock that you had me get ready to screen share, I think we could all learn a thing or two from Kerry on this. Maybe I'll step aside.
Uh-huh. Is your touch up thing based off of the violin retouching, or is it based off of the paints like Mohawk and that kind of a thing?
I'm pretty much agnostic about technique up to a certain point. My philosophy on touch up is to try to understand what the original finish schedule was and try to replicate it as close to it as possible, and if not, use it to kind of inform how you might layer up the color and stuff. If you're not gonna like if it's a pore fill and a mahogany that had pore fill in it, I try to use pore filler to touch it up rather than try to squirt brown paint on it. So
yeah.
Okay. That kind of stuff. But
yeah.
So in some of the early Dinkings, we did some making custom pore filler and all that kind of good stuff. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, they were good in that.
Yeah, I'd love to
Doug
see that.
has got a bunch of color work and shellac matching and stuff. Yeah.
Doug does a lot of stuff with shellac and adding color to shellac, and it's a complete blind spot in my stuff. And it just is really good to see all of the different angles for doing this stuff, because
yeah, very cool.
Ian's just got into you probably haven't seen this yet, Kerry, some headstock repairs with carbon fiber rods going through sort of the first, second fret straight down, and apparently it's rock solid, and also vacuum clamping, or how would you say? Yeah, vacuum clamping carbon fiber over a break and then painting it and color matching it. And yeah,
is that right? Wow.
Well, that one I color matched it with. It already had the only reason I took that project on was because it already had a stinger on it, and color matching was just painting a black stinger back on it. I don't know that I would try to paint a fraudulent mahogany from scratch just yet. Because I've tried it before and I'm not particularly good at it. Well, I'm good at it from exactly one angle and terrible at it from all of the other angles that you might observe it at. But
It's Nikki Waters who did that. She
yeah.
retouched that.
Can I ask Kerry a question?
Yeah, of course.
Can we talk about all them them peg heads up? You know, you said Charles Fox, and I was like, is that a Charles Fox peg head up there behind it?
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Well, you know, it was somebody.
Did you cut that off fair and square?
No, I mean, it was a head cycle was popped off.
Yeah.
That's a veneer that he gave me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I did. What did I do with that thing? Maybe I did a neck replacement on one of his. That's what it was. I did a neck replacement on one of his, and so he actually gave me a kind of a blank, roughed out neck that he still had for his Sea Fox instruments, and then a couple of these peg head covers anyway. So
cool. So it looks like you must. I mean, the thing that we're going to look at was a veneer overlay on the back of a Gibson, but it looks like you've taken some peg heads clean off there for. Is that do you do like a scarf joint repair as well and build up a new peg head?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'll do that sometimes. It depends on what it is, but you can yeah, you can scarf it, you know, backwards into the you know, backwards this way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's this far forward, then you can scarf it, you know, the other way too. So yeah. You know, but
well, can I ask you a harp guitar question?
Sure.
So I mean, I've seen a fair amount, like I haven't seen a ton of them, but it seems like a lot of them like that. What did you call it? The hollow part that went up the
bass arm, the hollow.
The bass arm. Like this, I saw a fair amount of them that were like the spruce was very rippled on the top. Like it looked like it had kind of buckled under the tension of the strings. Do you see that a lot or?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you know, I think that, well, it depends like the Gibsons, you know, the Gibson ones are carved, the carved tops, you know, but then the other ones that are flat, then, you know, like the Knutsons or the Dyers. Dyer made probably of the factory harp guitars, they probably made the best one, you know. That's why they're the most copied, right? But yeah, there's so much going on there that you do see all that kind of stuff go, you know.
Is that one of those things like that's just the way it is and you let it, you know, you play the ball where it lies, or do you take those apart to try to remedy that situation?
Well, it depends what it is, but yeah, you do. I mean, take them apart. So that the Knutsons are always falling apart. They really weren't. Chris Knutson is who invented the hollow arm harp guitar, and you see a bunch of them around, and you know, and just some of the ways that he put them together from an engineering standpoint, you know, they're always just falling apart, you know. So a lot of times most of the time you have to go in there and take the back off of them, and you just have to, you know, do what you need to do to make it so that it actually can be a playing instrument, you know. So yeah.
Have you ever laminated the sides of the harp arm to strengthen it up if it's collapsing or pulling up or whatever?
No, I haven't run into the bass arm really collapsing so much. Usually what happens is that it's usually around the sound hole area, because, you know, that's the weakest part. And so you usually get a lot of you know, deformation or deformation or whatever the word is, right around that area, you know.
Do you know how much tension's on a harp guitar, like with 7 bass strings or 10? Must be 300.
Yeah, maybe. So I mean, each string is probably 22, 25 pounds or something like that. 22 pounds maybe. So yeah, there's a lot of pull on those things.
Closer to 400 if it's got 12 bass, man.
Yeah, well, that's unusual. Usually they have most of the Knutsons have 5, and then the Dyers have, and then sometimes they have 6. Usually people like to have six sub basses. That's kind of what seems to be the most popular. So yeah.
You ever? Oh, go ahead.
The Knutsons with 19th century, like 1830s.
No, the Knutsons were he started building somewhere in the latter part of the 19th century. He took his patent in something like 1890, and then but his most of his activity was right after the turn of the century. He moved to Port Townsend from, I forget where, Michigan or something, or Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin. Then he moved to Port Townsend, and he was there for a while. Then he moved to the Seattle area, and then he ended up down in the LA area. So he moved down to LA, and that's when he was making all those Weisenborn style instruments.
Mm-hmm.
He was making harp guitars too, but they were really different than the ones that he made when he was in Seattle and Port Townsend. So
Was Orville Gibson influenced by him? Because the early Gibson mandolins were the 3 point ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Knuts ones they're pretty pointy, aren't they? They've got points popping out in a few places.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if they ever met each other, and I haven't ever heard that was that happened at all.
More points, the better, I suppose.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ian, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to ask do you ever run across any of the harp Weisenborn guitars, like get the lap steel with the extra harp strings attached to them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a couple of them. I have one that has like I think 2 sub bass strings and then super trebles. And anyway, I had a couple of them actually. I sold one of them, but I have and then I have one that just has some sub bass strings to them. And then anyway, so yeah, I do have them.
Any idea like the number of those out there? It seems pretty scarce. Are they scarce, or is that
I think
something
so.
you get a lot of?
Yeah, I think so. But being where I am, that's you see those things. I mean, I'm in the area where he was,
Yeah,
practicing. So that may be why you see as many. Like for instance, a lot. Where over on the East Coast, you see a lot more Larson stuff because that's where they were, right? And you don't see that stuff out here very much. So
yeah.
But they're they're relatively rare. I think I mentioned a little bit earlier this Greg Miner, the harpguitars.net, and he's got this section of the website where he tries to basically document. He's trying to document all the known Knudsen instruments. So anyway, it's if you want to waste a little bit of time, you can take a look at some of that. So and he's got it all categorized in the different styles and everything. So anyway.
Do you build harp instruments, guitars or uks?
I have, but I try not to. I have, but I try not to. They seem to, whenever you're doing something like that, it seems to like dominate your whole shop. They're just so big, and you can't just put it away. You just have to. It just lives on your workbench. It seems like, and anyway. So
yeah, I've got an order for one with 7 bass strings, and he wants the Dragon Whisper levers. So we get like 14 notes out of the 7 bass strings, and I've been putting it off and putting it off that build for those reasons.
Oh, I know. Well, the other reason why I kind of stopped, building those harp guitars, because every one is just a huge amount of R&D that you got to do. They're not, usually when somebody wants a harp guitar, they want something special, and that some of the other ones don't have, and I just find that there's just a huge amount of R&D that goes in with every one that you do. Nobody wants just a straight die. It seems to me anyway. Nobody wants just a straight die, or they want, super trebles, or they want, anyway.
Does your repair work on those? I mean, it's got to inform how you build them. Like, do you add any like extra bracing around the sound hole, or do you? I mean, you must like take into consideration some things that you see in failure of them over time.
Yeah, sure. Well, absolutely. Yeah, you do. But I think that, I mean, the ones that I build are pretty much like the Dyers, and they use kind of they use an X brace, I think the only thing is that there's that X brace, but then you just make sure that that bar that's underneath the fingerboard extension, that's a good strong, bar in there, because that's where it starts to kind of deform, right in that part, so sometimes what I'll do is I'll put that bar in, and I'll have it supported underneath the fingerboard extension, but then I'll have a little space, so it doesn't touch the top, but then it touches over the end. They do that in classical guitars, where they sometimes they'll run braces through there, but I just do that just so it allows it to be a little more active, the top to be a little more active, but supporting that area though is very, very important. That's where but the Canute, I mean, the Dyers though are kind of interesting instruments, because I've taken a bunch of them apart. And one of the things I thought was really interesting was that, and these Larson instruments, and other Larson instruments, is that sometimes he would just make the braces out of like maple. Like you go, yeah. I mean, I was surprised. I didn't know if I was seeing this correctly, when I discovered that, but he would do that often, or they would do that anyway. The Larsons, they would actually put maple braces in these things, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And of course, they did the double laminated ones too, right?
Yeah.
We got the ones
what is that laminated? Is that Brazilian rosewood, or is it ebony on the middle lamination on those braces?
I don't really know actually I never really I wasn't really sure. I have one around here someplace. I could dig it up and look, but I'm not sure what they put in there actually.
Yeah.
You would think that maybe they would try ebony, except for ebony would be expensive and expensive to try to use that just for your braces and that kind of thing. I would think anyway. Maybe not. Yeah.
Do you want to have a look in at one of those repairs, either one of those, and then we'll look at the second one later?
Absolutely. Oh, Kerry, I was going to say, John Doan was my guitar teacher in high school. Did you ever run into John Doan?
Yeah, I know John Doan very well. As a matter of fact, I mean, what I mean by just last Tuesday, I just shipped off a guitar, not a guitar, a baritone uke that I made for his wife, Deirdre. So
I just remembered him a little while ago. I went and got lunch in Brooklyn, and I had some kettle chips. And I remember I was at Willamette University doing a guitar lesson, and John looks out the window, and this is like in 1986 or something. He's like, that guy right there, he's doing this thing called kettle chips. It's going to be big someday. And I remember thinking at the time, nothing good ever comes from Salem, Oregon, John Doan. There's no way. And I was like munching on these chips in Brooklyn, thinking that guy has got to be he's got to be pretty solvent right now, I would think.
Yeah.
So do what I knew in high school. All right.
Yeah.
Let's so headstock repair then?
Yeah. This is a pretty nasty break.
Oh yeah. Okay.
A complex break.
Yeah.
So and previously repaired just like we like them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy. So what you thinking here? What's the thought process on this?
Well, basically you want to hide all that if you can,
Mhm.
So uh as I'm sure you know, that usually there's just paint on the front of it. And so what I ended up doing on this is I used that black fiber. I think actually Gibson does use that black fiber on some of their instruments as a headstock cap, and that stuff is like super tough, man.
Mhm.
That stuff is just super tough. Um, so anyway, I use that on the front of it, and then on the back, I sanded it out, and I just got a really thin veneer of yeah. There you go. That's the
Hold on a second.
yeah.
I'm doing this on my laptop, so I got a bunch of stuff in the way. Okay, so here's
Yeah.
that's the. How did you source that? Do you have an in at Gibson, or do you just know the
No,
material?
no. You can get that from um, Gurion. That's the same stuff that they use to make the black lines.
Oh, okay,
In the purflings and stuff like that. So you can just buy sheets of it.
okay.
You know.
Is
So
that like
yeah,
a 60 thou thick or something?
they have it all sorts of different thicknesses. 10, 20, 50.
Hmm.
So yeah, you can just get it however thick you want it.
Did you re-break this and re-glue what was there, or
No,
is
the
this
no the glue seemed fine. The glue job actually seemed pretty secure.
cool?
Yeah.
And then we've got
Yeah. So I just gluing that on. The
any preferred adhesive on that, or is that
I tend to use epoxy actually.
yeah?
Though you have to be careful with it. You really want to rough it up because it's easy to starve an epoxy joint, and your piece will pop off if you're not careful. But if you rough it out, then rough it up, then so anyway, so that's what I tend to use.
Cool.
Hmm.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Got a
Did you
nice.
save the logo off the first headstock?
No, no. I just got a what I got just got a new water slide
Okay.
one.
Cool. That is pretty robust overlay. I never thought about doing that to improve the strength. Um,
Yeah, you cannot cut that,
ah,
man.
safety planer.
Yeah, safety planer.
Any tips for sharpening those? Mine was really good when it was brand. Have you ever sharpened one or?
Yeah, they used to send a little wheel,
Mhm.
and like a little sharpening wheel. Have you ever seen that? No.
I think, yeah, I'm not sure that they're sending them anymore because I had one and it got dull and maybe I lost it. I don't know.
I think the new StewMac ones have a blade. The three blades you can twist, so it's got three
Oh,
different
yeah,
cutting
they're cammed, aren't they?
or two. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ed's got one.
They used to send out a little white aluminum oxide disc for sharpening.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Cool. You got a granite table for your drill press, nice and flat.
Yeah, that was my old drill press, my old drill press table. Yeah, but then right where it gets to the neck, you have to kind of scoop that by hand, though. Of course, just kind of ramp that a little bit.
Kerry, do you know Tim Frick? He just moved into your
I
jurisdiction a
met
little
him.
bit.
I've met him. He just I met him a couple of times. He moved to town a few years ago from Frankfort, Griffin, you know. Or I think he only worked at Griffin like a day a week or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, he was working with Gary down in San Francisco for a long time. This looks like how fun is this? Is this still fun to cut into a neck like that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Was that a flat cut or did you have to hand bend
No.
yeah.
Oh, I see. I sanded it.
Okay.
Oh.
I just made the veneer a little bit thicker, and I sanded that little scoop in the.
Okay. And the plexi, the acrylic, did you bend that? It looks like it's
I
bent.
bend it. Yeah. You heat it
cool.
and bend it. You heat it up, and then you can bend it to.
You know, I've never I don't know what I'm thinking. Like I've never heated acrylic. Oh my God. Of course. All right.
The next part I wanted to ask you about, which was the
Oh,
refinishing.
once adhesive on this?
What's that?
What's your adhesive on the glue up here?
Oh, I think I'm just using I like the polyvinyl glue I like to use is that brown glue from Garrett Wade.
Okay.
So anyway.
Oh, what were you gonna say?
That's got a high solids content, right? That Garrett Wade.
Yeah, it's got the high solids content. It's kind of my favorite glue to use.
Okay. Hmm.
I guess I don't know that one. I'm gonna have to look that up. Cool.
Yeah, so maybe the next picture.
Nice sandwich. Got a good sandwich going on
there. Yeah.
So your decision to strip the entire neck, I was interested in how you were going to deal with the color and the finish matching and, you know, check marks and all that sort of thing. But you said, no, screw it. Strip the entire thing.
Yeah.
Was the neck in kind of disarray after you've done all this work around the heel? I mean, the transition area, you just said, well, easier to take it all off.
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, to try to make a color match on it, you know, it's just a lot harder to do, you know, when you're. So I just stripped the whole thing, and then so that I could stain it same color, and then I'll use I use those you know, toners, those spray can toners, you know.
Mm.
I use that quite a bit in my repair work. So that's how I'll try to hide some of the transition anyway.
If this wasn't in for a neck reset, do you think that would have affected stripping it, or would you have like stripped it to the heel and then taped it off? And
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. You know, I could have tried to do it the other way. I just think it's a little trickier to do that way. And then the other thing is that, you know, with some of these necks that have so much checking in it, so you have all this checking, and then all of a sudden you have the part that's just all shiny.
Yeah.
I suppose you could go back and try to put some checking in it and that kind of thing. But anyway, I just decided to do it this way anyway, since I had it off.
Yeah. I think especially on, I think stripping and refinishing gets a bad rap. It kind of got, you know, like as guitars got more expensive, it got, you know, less desirable to do. But not every guitar is, you know, going to live and die on the originality of its neck finish. I mean, it's just pure and simple. It's got to be, something's got to give. This looks really good, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Aha. Well, hold on. I thought I was going to be able to zoom in.
Is that just a neck?
Is it just the neck? Yeah.
The jar. Yeah, it's labeled neck.
So
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's right. That's a neck dye that I use. But yeah.
So did
this
you
is
paste fill and then stain, or is it all in one in that jar?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Did you paste fill the pores and then stain it, or is that all in one kind of thing?
I didn't grain fill it yet, actually.
so this is so as it sits right now, this is the stain that you have in this jar right here.
Yeah.
Cool. What's in this jar? Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's just what did I have in that? I don't know. It looks like it might be some shellac, some dyed shellac that I had, but I don't know.
Cool. Oh, that looks good.
So you can I don't know if you can tell, but see right around the transition, there's some shading in there, and that's some of the toner and stuff that in a spray can that I'll tend to use.
Is that the Mohawk toner?
Yeah, the Mohawk.
Oh
stuff.
yeah, we had a bunch of that at Gruen's, and it was wonderful stuff. And I could never. It's I can't remember the stuff that I liked, and I'm too broke to buy all of their different rattle cans. So
Yeah.
Is this like, that isn't like nutmeg or something, is it?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I have a bunch of them in there, so I'll just try different ones that kind of.
Cool.
And you can spray it on to where you can still see the grain, right?
Mhm.
But you try to spray it on to just kind of obscure the whatever it is, the repair that you're trying to do, and try to leave a little bit of grain looking, peeking through, that kind of thing. But of course, this got it. I mean, I did all this, but it gets sunbursted anyway around that area anyway. So even if I wouldn't have done that, I probably could have covered it with the sunburst part of it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, looks nice. Very, very subtle.
Yeah.
That subtle obscuring is like, because the wood kind of does that, like it's not always uniform, uniform chatoyance up and down the neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good color.
Another thing you can do too is that if you're trying to cut, like I use that stuff when I'm, you break a headstock off and it's like the third time that you have to put it back together. It's got pieces missing.
Mhm.
And so I usually do fiberglass and Bondo. And so you have when you try to hide it with this toner, it's just it's one color. But what you can do is you can take another spray can that has the grain color, and you can kind of get back from it and just splat it onto it. And it kind of breaks it up a little bit, because it has little, mahogany has little tiny grain lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you just can take your can. I mean, you could go in there and try to make little dots, but I'm lazy, get your graining pen and go on, but I'll just get the grain color and I'll just kind of splat it on there a little bit, and it kind of helps to, I have this thing that I call the 3-foot rule.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to repairs and touch-ups. It's like, if it looks good 3 feet away, I mean, if you point at it and the guy look and you get up close, yeah, you can see it. But I have this thing that 3-foot rule is reasonable. If you looked at it from 3 feet away and somebody didn't point it out, that's reasonable, right? Anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna get along just fine, Kerry. You and me, we're gonna get along good. I like to sing the Amy Grant song, "From a Distance." From a distance, it looks just fine.
God is what? On that last photo, Ian,
Yeah.
were they graining pens on the left, Kerry?
What's that?
I think this is epoxy putty over here.
Oh, yeah, that's epoxy putty. Yes.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I use that necessarily on this. It was just probably on my bench anyway.
This is pour filled at this point, though, correct? Or are you still not pour filled?
No, I didn't pour fill this.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of times that pour fill like runs deep, and like when you like if you're tender when you're stripping it, like it can stay pretty much pore filled, or at least good enough. But
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes, especially if sometimes I just won't pour fill it. I'll just dump a lot of lacquer on it and just let it dry out for about 2 or 3 weeks. You know, you know, when it gets kind of trickier for me anyway, I mean, if you're going to do pour fill, you know, you usually have to, if you don't want it to color the wood, then you have to have it, you know, a sealer on it. Right. And then anyway, it just makes it much more complicated. So sometimes I'll just, if I have to do a complicated touch up, you know, then I'll just put a bunch of clear on it and just not pour fill it, you know, anyway.
Hmm. Is that a fret holder pineapple on the bench there? Or is that a game?
That's a cribbage.
cribbage.
That's a cribbage board. It's a souvenir, a Hawaiian souvenir that I use for my frets.
You
Putting
could
frets in.
refret like 3 guitars at once with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what it's all about at the end of the day.
Nice.
Is
Yeah.
it gonna make a racket? You know.
Yeah.
Did you blacken the headstock more, that fiber, with black dye or
Yes, I did.
something?
Yes, I did actually. I ended up doing that just because the fiber itself, it has a little bit of almost a chalky look to it, so that I didn't like, you know. So I did shoot black over it, and then put some clear over that, and then I put the decal on. You know.
Was there something on the? Did you make a new bridge for this?
Yeah, I did actually. I did.
That's a nice looking bridge.
Yeah, thanks.
Is there screws and bolts under the?
No, I never put the screws and bolts in. I don't anyway. So I know some people do, but anyway.
Ah, now we're talking. That looks really nice.
Yeah, it's money right there.
Difficult to detect. No, are we back to the beginning? Yeah, really nice. So, was the customer pretty excited
Oh, yeah.
about that when it came back?
Yeah. He was.
That's good.
I've done a bunch of work for the guy who owns it anyway. I've done a bunch of work for him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Do you have lots of most of your repair work? Is it returning customers, or do you have a sort of a large bunch of new people coming through each year?
I think I have both actually. I have a lot of returning customers, you know, and people ship me stuff, you know, that kind of thing. So I have some old customers that still send me things to work on and that sort of thing. But yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised at you know, I don't really pay attention to the social media stuff too much, you know, but I am surprised at how many people do come, you know, based off of you know, reading reviews on Google or Yelp and stuff like that. I'm sort of surprised about that sometimes, but I guess people do read those things, you know.
You work out of
Yeah.
your home.
Yeah, I do.
And is your workshop, you know, you can look up the business and people can leave Yelp reviews or whatever online.
Say it again.
Your business is searchable online, so you know people can leave reviews.
Yeah.
I know some people don't want that if they work out of their house, but yeah, you're up possibly for a weird person leaving a strange review.
Yeah.
How long?
You know, I don't.
Oops,
I don't get a ton of people that come here though. I mean, maybe about 1 or 2 or 3 a day. That's about it, you know.
Kerry, I'm going through your Instagram here. Can we talk about this bad Larry right here? What's happening in here?
Okay.
Wow.
That's a Knutson.
So
And that is a real sort of typical bracing scheme that he does. It's always kind of it's always kind of interesting to look at when you look at some of this stuff. You'll notice that they have a pin coming straight through the brace right there.
where oh wait, where am I looking?
It's on the base side. They got a pinhole that's drilled straight through the brace.
Oh yeah. Well, you got it.
So his stuff is you always have to kind of go in there and kind of mess with stuff with Knutson anyway. But
the thing that occurs to me right off the back is, boy, that is not much of a neck block.
no, and it's not centered on the neck if you look at it.
Uh-huh. Is that a dovetail joint in there after all?
No,
No.
it just butt joints up to the.
Really?
Oh boy.
And the thing that actually makes the neck so the neck doesn't just come off is that there's a bracket that hooks to the base arm.
It's hard to see, but it's like up here, right?
Yeah, it's up there, right? Correct.
So
it's just hide glued butt joint to the head block or the outside of the head block. Wow.
So-
sometimes they would put a little right angle, little metal bracket right there. Sometimes you'll see that they'll have this little small, half-inch, 3/4 inch corner bracket, metal corner bracket. You'll put there sometimes. But
so is this table leg in here? Is that stock or what?
that's stock, yeah. Part of the reason why it's so fat over there is because these are super trebles. You see, there's extra treble strings, and so
Yeah.
so he's got zither pin holes there, and that's how you
okay.
tune it. So that's why the stick up there, right?
Oh, and he got it patented so nobody would steal his idea.
Yeah, he did.
So I'll get sued if I put a bridge pin through a brace now because it's
That's right.
Yeah.
Is this a stock brace?
I think so.
Here?
I think so. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's stock.
Wow.
This is wacky. And the braces here, they're cedar.
Yeah.
They're not even spruce.
It looks like we've got a lot of different materials here. Like this looks like probably this looks like mahogany, and then this looks like what? Like walnut or something, or
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, well, he used walnut quite a bit actually. So a lot of his bridges were made out of walnut. So
that's quite a thing.
Yeah,
Is there
they're wacky things.
Was there an original brace going? Go back to the last one. From the top right to the lower left, there seems to be some brace missing.
No, he never had a brace coming through there. Yeah, this kind of weird fan thing was sometimes you'd see once in a while you'll see an X in some of those, but it's very kind of rare. There was a guy early on that helped him. That was they don't really know. They didn't know. They don't know if he was an employee or if he subcontracted to this guy. His name is Anderson. Knutson would use this guy, and so the really early harp guitars. There's some that you can tell they were made by it was just a much better. It was a much better luthier anyway. Is the point? This Anderson, and he actually had dovetailed necks with heels on them and that kind of a thing. But that was early on, and maybe those are the ones that I didn't pay as much attention when I was working on some of those, whether they were, I mean, I didn't know about this Anderson. I just thought they were all Knutson and stuff. But some of them did have X braces, which is what the Dyer guitars use, X bracing. Yeah.
And all the bridge plates there are original.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
How what kind of quality is the spruce on this? I mean, is it rigid, or I mean, it must have been a big piece for a fella to get a hold of back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it good quality? I mean,
I don't think so really, but I don't know how meticulous of a builder he actually was, Knutson himself. You need a pretty big, you need a pretty big blank because the arm, flares out so far, because it flares out so far, you need at least 10 inches, sometimes as much as 11 or 12. Like the Dyers need almost 12 inches because the bass arm swoops out so far.
The dice, the neck, the guitar neck isn't connected mechanically to the harp arm, is it?
Yeah,
like
the
this
bass.
is.
It is actually. It's got a little bracket.
Oh, okay.
It's got a little. It's just it's just a little flat bracket. Might even have it here.
Are the Dyers but they're
This is
dovetailed?
what they use. That's what they use. Just that hooks. One part hooks to the headstock, and the other part hooks to the side of the bass arm. Just a metal thing like that. And then this little slot right here. I don't know if I'm making so. This little bracket would hook to the side of that.
Hold on one second.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, there you go. So basically, as the headstock goes back, or you can adjust the tilt of the neck by unscrewing the side of this thing and moving it and then tightening it up, if that makes any kind of sense.
Wow.
Just nutty, but it works. It's a crazy thing, but it seems to work. I mean,
because the arm is so rigid, it just holds that other neck in place.
Yeah. I guess somehow it kind of worked. I don't know long term, but it does work.
Would that be a feature that you'd recommend on all harp instruments to connect?
No, not at all. No. Yes. No.
You heard it here first, people. Kerry Char recommends an actual neck joint. So
yeah.
Are the Dyer harp guitars dovetailed necks?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised that a butt joint would hold, even if it had a little bracket. But...
Well, I think. Well, the truth is that a lot of them didn't hold, and that's why there's. Anytime you run into one of these guitars, they're all falling apart, kind of. So.
Also on your.
But they're.
Yeah. On your, I think I saw it on Facebook, but you had a bucket of instruments that I think you said you were cleaning out the closet or something, and there's a whole bunch of old looking things that look pretty cool. Did you chuck them all away?
That was that bucket of necks. Yeah, I put all these necks in I changed my shelving down there. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So you work from the room that you're in now? Is it
Yeah, this is primarily where so the building is a 2-story building. This top, I forget, it's about 700 square foot up here on the top,
Okay.
And then but I'm trying to renovate the bottom floor and move I have a, you'll see, I'll show you, but I have my woodworking machinery in the front part of this, where there's a wall and a door, and I'm gonna move all that downstairs, so I'll have more room up here anyway. It just gets kind of crazy anyway.
Yeah, I was one of the guys here, Nate. He used to build, and now he just does repairs. And he said how much more space he got when he realized he could do away with all the wood that he was storing for building and some machinery and stuff. And I was looking at my workshop, thinking how much more space I'd have if I didn't have all this wood here.
Right. Hey, let me take a break for just a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh. You want to go through his Instagram, Ian?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff in here.
Yeah. I like that wall that he's got behind him. Tool wall. And some fancy Paco Quintos.
Yes,
Looks like a Taylor bridge on that one on the left.
it does indeed.
Liked by Nate.
Oh yeah.
That's like a bull's head and bull horns on those bridges, the other two, especially the right one.
Uh-huh.
Sorry about that.
That's all right, man.
Yeah. A little bit too much coffee there this morning.
So let's see here. You have some
Bahu Quinto, I guess they call him.
uh-huh. Very cool.
This guy brought in, I guess he had some bar fight or something, his band or something, and all of his guitars got busted up.
Oh no. Oh no.
Is he the Bill Monroe of the band? Yeah, that drawer is cool.
Oh yeah.
So what's going on here? We got a Rezo uke. Got some
that's
harp uke.
Dover uke. Yeah, a harp mandolin.
One of the Lindbergh ones.
Yeah, one of the Lindbergh things, I think.
I didn't know that they made a Lindbergh uke. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, are these just waiting in the wings or?
No, they're just stuff that I have.
Okay.
I mean, they're waiting. They're not customers pieces. They're just stuff that I had.
Oh, that resonator uke looks absolutely fantastic. Is that a national product or is that a?
It is. I think it's actually Regal era.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't sound very good though, because it interestingly enough, it's not one of the single. It's not what I want to say. It's got a spider cone in it.
Oh wow!
It doesn't have a national style cone in it. It has a spider cone in it.
That's crazy. You'd think they would totally go with the biscuit on something like that, but
yeah. But anyway, the cone's a little tired, and I don't even know how to get a new cone for it. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know if it's such a thing.
We're gonna have Paul Beard on at some point. Doug Proper has told us maybe he'll spin you up a fancy cone for it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Let's see here. So this probably sell that as is, maybe.
That's let's see, I have a
reverb just springs.
Yeah.
So
what happened is have that one of those leaky D'Addario humidifiers in it or something. Or?
So this guy came in my shop and he says I have a job for you, and I want to see if you could do this for me. And I said, oh, okay. So he comes in and he opens the case, and this is what's there, you know. I said, what happened to, what is this, you know? And he goes, well, I can kind of laugh about it a little bit now. He says, but it wasn't all that funny when it, you know, when he happened. So he says, I had this girlfriend, and then we got in this big fight, and she called me up on the phone one day, and she said, hey, you know that guitar that you just got? And he said, yeah. She goes, well, here it is. And she smashes this thing over the phone, you know. And the guy's like, you know, so he runs home, and he comes home, and there's his guitar, you know, in the case, stomped to death, you know.
She was thorough. Like,
yeah.
I think that's one of the finer examples of girlfriend related guitar destruction I've seen.
Did he deserve it? Is the question I want to know.
I don't know. Well, I'll show you later on I'll show you a picture that. So I gave this to a friend of mine who's a photographer, and he did this shot using that. I'll have to show it to you, but it was really cool, actually. But
so was he in earnest, or was he trying to be funny when he brought this to you?
No, he was trying to be funny. He said he had hauled it around for so many years. He thought I should have it. So
anyway. Okay.
We really should get a poster made of that.
Yeah. Or
I have one.
Or we could
show it to you.
You know, you got all those other luthiers in Portland. We could just do a show where we walk into their shops with that, and then see what the reaction is.
Sure.
Here's a nice duo.
Yeah.
What was the thought with? So this doesn't have any kind of harp business there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was just they thought maybe it would make more racket or something.
I don't know. Yeah, that's how they do it. Like the Knudsen did a harp ukulele, which are pretty popular, and you know, it didn't have bass strings on it.
Well, what's that guitar with a double X?
Oh, hold on.
Well, that's a 12. That's that B2512 or whatever. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's got that tape on there too, so that your braces don't fall off.
That was nice of them to do that. Huh?
That ebony clip.
That's that crazy. This is a Gibson, correct? Like,
yeah.
That crazy
whatever
glue
that
on it.
Whatever that stuff is. I don't know what that stuff is.
Was that the stuff that was it kicked off through radio frequencies?
You know, I don't know. They did. I know that I read that they did. You try that glue. With it. It's a microwave. They microwave it. You know.
This looks nice. Is this nice?
Yeah, that was Stephen Sedgwick.
32 string.
Yeah, well, it's got. They have a bunch of sympathetic strings that run through the underneath of the fretboard. Yeah.
Oh wow! So, like a sitar.
How long does that take to tune?
I don't know, but I'll tell you how long it took to string it up. Jeez.
Is it like an auto harp where you just tell them to buy a new one with the strings already on?
Yeah, I wish.
Got some coal and blow up here. It's nice.
Yeah, got some coal and blow.
This is an interesting.
Oh, that's a harp guitar I made for a guy about a year and a half ago. He wanted to be able to tune the super trebles, where he reaches his left hand around the back instead of the other ones. You have to. Anyway, that's how he wanted to do it, is to be able to reach around with his left hand to tune the guitar instead of using his right hand. So we came up with that.
Going back to the R&D on this stuff, I mean, you're dealing with a tremendous amount of tension, right? Like you must build to avoid warranty claims a little bit, right?
I guess, I don't know. I mean, I just
Do those Goto UPTLs handle steel strings well? I've never put a steel string on them, but those sympathetic harp tuners you use, they're the Goto UPTLs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he wanted the strings to just be one straight shot, no spaces between the like between the super trebles and the regular guitar strings and then the basses. He wanted the spacing to be all completely equal. Anyway,
so
that's really cool.
So that's why we have a straight bridge, straight and everything.
Wow.
This looks like a nice little machine.
Oh yeah, that's my shear line. Yeah, I love that thing.
Cool.
I made a ton of bridges with that. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I have the the bridge for this harp guitar that the Steven Sedgwick harp guitar that I was repairing, and I had the bridge on. I had the bridge on there.
Oh wow.
Doing stuff on it. Yeah.
It raises the question: if not that, then how? How did you do it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Dan Earlywine, you see that? I'm not sure if Dan's still here. Look at that thing.
That's huge. Did you radius the bottom of that bridge, or was it flat? Did you have to radius the bottom of the bridge, or was it?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You just you radius it. I have a curved. Let's see. I have this curved board here that I always radius my bridges on. 25 or like that. I can see that, but anyway.
Yeah.
I don't want to be super gauche here or anything, but do you mind if I ask you like how you bid a project like this? I mean clearly you specialize in harp guitars a little bit, but if somebody brought this to me and told me to do this, I'd be like, I don't know, $1,000 maybe. I don't know. Like how much that seems like that's a very macho job, Kerry. Like it cannot be overstated. Like that's a serious like baller Luthen kind of thing there. But I guess I do kind of want to know how you bid this.
I usually what I try to do is I try to guesstimate how many hours I think it's going to actually take.
Mm-hmm.
What my time investment is going to be in that sort of thing. And so it does make it, the bigger jobs make it kind of harder if you're figuring that your bench rate is $120 an hour, let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
So the bigger jobs are going to usually I'll adjust that down a little bit. Depending on what it is, but yeah, it gets kind of tricky to do that particular thing. But it's not. This was not that hard though. Really, I mean, in one sense, if you have the equipment, anyway. I make a lot of reproduction bridges. So I have the shear line mill. It just makes it so much easier to just kind of lay something like that out and put it together. So it just I don't know that I don't know that I think I figured that it was going to take me twice as long to make a bridge like this as it would for me to make a normal bridge. So I just priced it at twice the amount I would charge to do a reproduction bridge.
Okay.
So
I feel like degree of difficulty, like a high dive, like you're doing a couple gainers here. You need to factor that in there. Because if you're like 3/4 of the way through this and all of a sudden you're like, oops, like it's just like the degree of difficulty. The risk at the end of the project, I think, it's so high. But anyway, nice job.
Yeah, thanks.
Like, how thick is the bridge plates on these kind of harp guitar things?
How thick?
Yeah,
they're a little bit all over the place. I think that these companies that were this happens to be a Washburn instrument. This one here actually, and the I don't know if they really knew what they were doing with harp guitars, because a lot of them you get in here and they're falling apart, or I had a Favilla. I had a Favilla in here one time, and this Favilla harp guitar. I've never seen another Favilla harp guitar before, but they built this harp guitar for this particular guy, and the thing just basically came apart. They had to send it back to him, and I don't know what he did. He tried to fix it and everything like that, and then they gave it back to him, and even then it just really didn't work very well, and then when I got it, it was like, oh my gosh. And so on that particular one, we ended up rebracing it because it was never going to play. It had ladder bracing in it,
A ladder brace harp guitar. Wow.
Yeah, ladder brace. Well, there's a bunch of them out there, actually, believe it or not. But so anyway,
Somebody actually put here that it's practically an external ladder brace, which is interesting to think about. People don't really feel like the bridge is part of the equation, but
yeah, I think he's right, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to change that because that's giving me anxiety. So here, this looks like, look at this.
Well, this is the one that I built.
How, so when you were planning this, pen and paper, CAD, how are you going about this?
I just drew it out.
Just drew it out?
Mm-hmm. He wanted it to be a classical guitar size. So I started from there, and I just decided the bass scale length. So I knew where the headstock for the bass was going to go, and then I just tried I just adapted one of the Knudsen headstocks, and just drew out the bass arm just by eye. And
looks like you're foregoing the drilling through the brace.
I tried to avoid that. Yeah. I did.
Well, we'll see how did that affect the tone? I'm just kidding.
So the length of the harp arm is just based on what pitch that they want to string it to usually.
Not necessarily. No, there's just kind of some. Well, one thing is that the strings, you can't have them go longer than the strings that are available to you. So they would be, basically the size of like an acoustic bass scale length, so that you want to run it about that length. And I forget what that number is, but I think that's how I figured out what I wanted to do.
So here we have, the harp with the very reasonable idea of just sticking a piece of lumber out the end of the neck. And
yeah.
That just seems so much more reasonable than building that whole hollow arm, but which is interesting because the whole thing of the Weissenborn is that you've got the hollow neck here. But yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
This gets me pretty excited.
That shape on the one on the right is interesting shape. It looks like a kind of a blobbed dreadnought almost.
Yeah, that's the transition from so Knudsen the first ones that he made were kind of a teardrop shape that you may or may not have seen, and then they came up with this shape which they call the pineapple shape, and then after that then they came with the Weissenborn shape, which is the ones to the left, that shape. So this is kind of a transition. These are very rare, actually. I think that pineapple one, there's only maybe 3 of those known.
Wow.
That have emerged anyway.
Is this LWO shape? Is that a square neck as well, or is that a around neck?
No, it's actually around that. It's a what's I don't know if they call it his convertible
Yeah.
shape. So the idea theoretically was that you could adjust the neck so that the neck can be for lap style, or you could pull it back and it could be played conventionally. And there's this kind of bracket, this metal bracket back there that he has this weird kind of Bojack crazy bracket that he has back there. I don't know if you
Oh, wait, maybe we can see it. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
look
there
at
it
that.
is. Yeah. It's just the craziest thing, you know, but
These guys really liked their brackets, didn't they?
yeah.
Bracket.
This one, the second to the left over there, if you saw the back of it anyway. The where's that back? This one right there. See that? There's a
Oh,
that
there's
has what they call a double back.
so there's a
And
trap door in there, or
no, it's just a secondary back, so that when you sit on your lap, the back doesn't get dampened from
damped.
yeah. So he was,
Wow.
isn't that crazy? So he was doing that back in I mean, now you see that on mandolins, they have this thing that holds it away from your, and guitars, you know. But he was doing that, you know, back in, I don't know, the teens, or no, probably the 20s or the 30s.
Any idea how he was getting koa over? Like, was it just available, or?
I don't know, but he didn't use a lot of koa actually.
Mhm.
In Seattle had that what is it, the Pan Pacific thing? It was like in 06 or 05 or 06, and that's where they think that he got exposed to the idea of Hawaiian music and Hawaiian instruments and koa and all that kind of stuff.
It's really lost how crazy people went for Hawaiian music, isn't it? Like, nobody really understands. I mean,
That's right.
a few people do, but it's hard to place it. We don't have that.
He was a rock music of his day, man.
Yeah.
All the colleges.
Here's that. I'm guessing that this is the one that you
Washburn.
Yeah, that's
the Washburn from earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the nice thing is all those joints came apart super clean.
Yeah.
Like, Kerry, are you also doing setups on like Squire Minis and stuff? And you know,
we do that. We do some of that. Yeah, sure.
American Conservatory. How many people are in the shop with you? I for some reason I was assuming it was just you.
It was. I have Todd Novak. Todd, he works about 2 days a week in here.
Oh my God! Now that is a pick guard crack. Holy moly!
Wow.
Yeah, Todd. Yeah, that's right. That was kind of wild, huh? Yeah, Todd actually was out of Griffin. He worked in Griffin for a while.
Oh wait, yeah, he reached out to me. He
really?
Yeah, he was sorry he couldn't make it to this, and told me there were some things that I left money on the table during the Frank Ford interview, and I need to get them back on to do some more stuff. But he's a really nice guy.
He is.
So that's just pick guard shrinkage caused that top to completely fail.
It did.
It did. Probably the most extreme example of that I've seen.
Yeah, me too.
Oof. Let's see here.
Oh, that's just taking a neck off with steam.
And you're vacuuming the steam away?
Yeah, that's how
I like that.
We would vacuum the steam away, so it kind of helps with the blushing, you know.
Yeah. Cool.
Have you seen the foam wire cutter way to do it?
That's what we do now.
Oh yeah.
After you guys started, I saw that somewhere.
Got a TR with the neck off. How that looks like a Tony Rice Pro. Is that a Pro? Or?
Yeah, it is actually.
That's cool.
Yeah, they got.
I worked for Ken Cartwright in Salem. That was where I did my apprenticeship at, and he was a Santa Cruz dealer. And
Oh, is that right? Ken
Yeah.
Cartwright. Wow.
the first I was there when he first took on Santa Cruz, and the first Tony Rice that we got in was just a dynamite sounding guitar, and then everyone after that was just like pretty blah.
Huh.
But we had a pro that came in one time, and it was really blah, and but it also sounded tight, and we all just were like, you know what, we got to sell this guitar. So like we had 4 people working at the shop at that point. We'd all just put 20 minutes a day in on it. And when it finally opened up, it was a really special guitar. But what was crazy about it is we were like, oh, great, we've opened it up. And we quit doing that for like a couple days, and it just like clammed back up. It was,
Oh, interesting. Huh.
oh my God, I love banjo head art.
What is that?
It's always like kind of like that 20s flapper stuff.
Yeah.
I think it might be like merchant marine related, maybe like sailors would take these out on the ships with them, and then they'd get to drawing on them or something. But
Out of desperation at not seeing women for months.
possibly.
Yeah.
So
That really
you speak banjo too, or at least banjo ukulele, maybe, or
I work on them. Yeah, sure. I work on banjos. I kind of like them. I don't play them really, but I like them. I mean, and more the older open back 5-string style. You know, I kind of like those. They're kind of neat. So I work on those.
This looks pretty neat.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you like to play?
Just like finger style, a little bit of blues, that kind of thing.
So this is an example of bad action, it looks like.
Yeah.
Great for slide. How is it everybody? Oh,
that's an old uke there. Is that a machette? Oh no.
Oh, that's a Nunez.
I'm working on one of those at the moment. Sort of
Oh wow, cool.
plainer one. This is a manual.
Nice.
so one clamp at a time, huh?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Kerry, is there anything in here you think I should zoom to?
Oh, I don't know. Don't even know.
Oh, electric mandolin.
Oh yeah, that was kind of a cool little mandolin.
That's one of those things that's surprising to see something like that out in Oregon, actually. Like, although
a friend of mine's got one of those. They're pretty amazing.
Oh, here's the I made a this is one of those teardrop Weisenborns that I made for a guy. You see him around sometimes, but
is that spruce on the upper area of the neck, like a reinforcement?
Yeah. I put a another piece of spruce in there to kind of like stabilize that. I think is what I felt like anyway.
is that black walnut?
No, it's koa.
It is.
So just it's darkish. That's all.
Kerry, do you know Jason Bowerman? You ever that?
Oh yeah.
I worked with him at Breedlove, and I know his Weisenborn game is getting pretty interesting. What's your oh, go ahead.
I know him pretty well, actually. As a matter of fact, I bought a Weisenborn set from him a few years ago to do a Weisenborn build for somebody.
What are your bars here?
My what? They're sail battens. Yeah, like what do they call it? Sailboards, or what do they call those things? They look like anyway. So these sail battens, um, you sand them. You can sand them to whatever pressure you want to put on whatever it is, like, and past 15 degrees of the bend, it stays completely consistent. You can almost bend it in half, and the pressure would stay completely consistent. And so you just get them in, and you put them in your standard until you get what you just get at a bathroom scale to tell how much pressure, and then they never wear out, and they're great. I've had them for years.
Cool.
How
Any
much
idea?
pressure do you like?
Pardon me?
How much pressure do you like? I've never thought about a number for that, but
Like 15 pounds, I think, somewhere around there.
mhm.
Cool. Ooh, more brackets.
Well, yeah, that's a close-up picture of it. Yeah.
Dude, this is great.
And the
I know.
two-
The guy's like, wait a second. Hey, I got an idea.
Yeah.
So for your builds, Kerry, are you using that Garrett Wade glue, or are you using high glue to glue on the braces and stuff?
I use high glue to glue on the braces, and then I just I use Garrett Wade, or sometimes I'll use fish glue.
Hmm.
Put the back. It seems to have a longer set time, to glue the back or the back or the top on sometimes, or the
Hmm.
back probably,
You got a Koa base here? Is that
Yeah, that's one of those. It's what do they call that?
says Travis Bean here?
That's
So
it. That's
it
it.
had the aluminum neck.
Yeah, yeah. He had me refinish it, and the neck is not in, or the mechanism is not in there. Yeah, it's Travis Bean.
Was there
Wow.
something about it that was flawed, or was you just want it shiny?
It was I think it had been painted or something like that, or stripped and painted or something. So he just wanted me to refinish it. That's all.
Is that
And
your
then
work
this
vehicle there?
this is
Yeah. Yeah.
The Charmobile?
Yeah.
that's
Well,
so this does prove that you live in Oregon.
yeah.
Is that base in the red one above
Oh.
that?
Oh, this is okay. Oh, somebody had gone sparkle on it. Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah. Why would you do that?
Oh, you're just living in the 80s and you're like, this doesn't look like Winger.
Yeah. That's a
So
broken back there.
is this more significant other breakage, or is this just somebody
Somebody sat on it.
tried to
Somebody
use it
sat
as
on
a
his
chair?
uke, Somebody sat on his uke, so I just replaced the back on it, and
That was one of your ukes.
no, it was somebody else's. It was a Canalea.
Oh, okay.
Double neck Ibanez artist.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, they weigh a ton, man. You better be pretty manly to be playing one of those.
Oh my God. Can you imagine the notes that you could play on that though? You could play like almost all of them.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that was what do you call it? Sitar or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm. And Saul Cole in for the win on the comment with I think it's still gonna buzz. Classic.
Saul. This one right here, this on that Gibson one right there. So that's another headstock thing. This is they put a forklift through the case into the headstock of this thing.
Uh-huh.
They busted it in half, like that. So anyway.
I'm hearing so many like forklift guitar interactions happening now. I don't know what it is. Keep the forklift away from the guitar.
Yeah,
Man,
And oh, this is this
the
the
same. That's the same one. Yeah,
Yeah, boy.
that's a
isn't
real
that crazy?
Jeez.
Actually, this guitar belongs to what is that? Portugal the Man. Those guys.
Yeah,
Anyway, I do a bunch of work for these guys, but anyway, they're really hard on their instruments, man.
apparently.
Is that a 50s Gibson?
It's one of those. I think it's older than that. It's one of those flat back arch top of L30s or something. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
They have a flat. There's kind of these small arch top instruments and got a flat back and an arch top, you know. And they keep busting that thing up, you know. It's crazy.
Ooh, nice. Look at that.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's subtle.
that's a super glue drop fill right there.
Yeah.
It's a 55 D28.
Well, that's some nice wood for 55.
Yeah.
Gotta love spiderweb Brazilian to hide glue lines and stuff.
Oh, what's this? What's this little unit?
It's just a another harp mandolin.
Stop me if I'm blowing, but oh, what's that wood?
That's Brazilian.
Wow, that's crazy looking.
Nice.
Very pink.
Yeah.
So
you spraying nitro and rubbing shellac, and do you do any polyurethane or anything finishes?
No, I don't do any. I used to do poly finishes, but I don't do them anymore. They're just a hassle. That's the class that we teach anyway.
That's cool.
Charles. Yeah,
I didn't realize he lived in Oregon.
yeah, he's been here about 10 years, maybe.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, I know. It's one of our local wood play Gobi hardwoods.
You've got a lot of good wood sellers around you, like Pacific
Yeah.
Pine Woods is near you.
Gilmer.
They're in Washington. They're a little bit farther up, but Gilmer's is here.
Yeah. Good. Is Guitar Wood Experts in Portland? They've got some nice wood.
Is that Al? That might be Alan Oliphant, which is Northwest. I can't remember the name of him, but there's a guy named Alan Oliphant that's a local guy here that we've known for years, you know, and he's worked for this place Northwest, you know, and we all get a lot of wood and stuff from him anyway. And then
Do you know
Gilbert's.
Les Stansel?
Yeah, Les.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've still got some of his Oregon Myrtle here.
Oh yeah, and so I've got some of his stuff too. Actually, he's great. He got rid of all of his wood. He decided he wanted to make his wood shed into a pickleball court.
Really?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, really.
Wasn't he diagnosed with MS or something?
No, he has Parkinson's.
Yeah.
But man, that guy is amazing though. He exercises a lot, and I guess that is a way to really kind of help with that if you exercise a lot, you know, and then he smokes pot, a lot of pot, you know, CBD stuff, you know, but the guy still works and he still is active, you know. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Kerry, do you think there's any way we could take a look around your shop? Do you feel like doing a little tour, or we're
sure.
running? Don't want to take up your entire Sunday or anything, but
No,
I'd
that's
love to see around.
Yeah. Okay.
We go for a drive in the Charmobile as well. That thing looks.
That thing looks like it's purpose built for driving through a parade route or something.
I don't know where if I put, let's see, is this? That covers it. Okay. I got this flap from the thing there. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so this is my main. Let's see. That's my main tool thing there. If you can see it, and you can. And it's got these. I thought this was kind of clever. You know, they got these little doors that open up. You know,
Yeah,
like that. So
Nice.
anyway. And,
there's your mill.
there's my shear line that I love. It's kind of cool. I have this little let's see, this little jig that I have on right here. That fits in it. And oh yeah, that's better. So it has an offset. So that it has the offset in it for an 1/8 inch or 3/16.
Oh,
And
okay.
so you just basically put your bridge right on it and clamp the ears down, and it all automatically has that taper, you know, so you can mill the taper in for your intonation or whatever, you know. So, but anyway,
Is that a torch back there?
yeah, it's a little torch.
Okay.
You know,
Is that part of the bridge making process, or?
no, it's just you know, I don't know. It's a creme brulee thing, I think.
Oh, okay, good.
I was looking for a crack pipe next to it, but I didn't
That's
see it.
right. Yeah.
Big.
What I use to fire up my blunts, man.
Yeah, Portland's a big crack town. We all know that.
Yeah. So this is my my go bar deck anyway, and these are those those battens I was telling you about. You know,
The old school pencil sharpener down there too. I just cannot find a new pencil sharpener that does the job. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Let's see. So this is my. I got this out of some junk shop. It's some dental thing, but it's just a one trick pony. It's for buffing out nuts and saddles.
Yeah.
So
Looks like an alien's face or something.
I know, it's great. I love it. But let's see, this is all our.
It seems like a lot of machinery for one tiny buffing wheel. Was there a bigger purpose for that in dental, or?
I don't know. I have no idea what it is, but it's got this see this
oh,
so you can put bigger wheels on it, I guess.
I worked with some Horntecs that had buffers. So you just that arbor, you just like push it on there and then it like threads onto it, right? Yeah, that's really
right.
cool.
Yeah, but the thing that's cool about it seems big, but the reason why, what happened?
I don't know.
Oh, there it is. Okay. It seems big, but this part here has got a vacuum to it. See?
Oh, okay.
So when you turn it on.
Oh, okay.
So it sucks in all the
Oh, that's
all
great.
the fibers and stuff, you know. So anyway.
That's great.
Yeah. So there's my of course what is going on? This thing clicks off for some reason. My little things for that we use now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then a variac, is the variac for controlling those, or?
No, I don't know. I use it. I used to use it for my heat blankets, but I don't use it for that anymore. Or yeah, I don't use it for that anymore. But anyway,
Diamond wheel sharpening system. That's
what do they call those? CBN or whatever they call them, or the CBN wheels.
Nice.
And this is the holding area for the stuff that we're working on.
They're all jobs. They're not your personal.
Yeah. Well, let's see, Yeah, these are all jobs. The one on the end, that little parlor guitar, that parlor guitar on the end is mine, and the little ukulele is mine. But no, these are all people's jobs, except for this one. This one here, where the braces are taped, and that's Todd's. He's rebracing this harmony that he has. So other than that, though, here's one that I'm actually. This is one of the ukes that I'm making now for a guy. But look at this koa. I wish I had more of this koa though.
Oof.
I know, it's just, yeah, I love this stuff.
The koa is getting scarce, isn't it? Like it's,
yeah, too scarce.
boy, when I was working at Breedlove, we built a lot of really dumb Breedloves with some really nice koa. It was really kind of nerve-wracking while I was there to watch that much koa getting turned into nonsense. But
Is that Gibson harp guitar there? Is that signed by Orville Gibson? It looks really old.
I don't think so. Let's see. Yeah.
Looks like one of the hand carved early ones.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's got a big wampin crack in it though. You can't see it from very, very easily, but he said he just woke up one day and all of a sudden it has a crack. See it right there?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Is that a walnut top?
I think it's spruce, I think.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of the back.
Oh, the back. I don't think so, but
Don't get
no,
it down.
it looks like mahogany anyway. I think, from what I can tell anyway. And then this is my little spray booth. It's usually pretty messy in there, but you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's functional. And this is my Coulter collection. You know who he is, Frank Coulter?
no.
Yes, you can't really see it very well, but he's a guy who built instruments here in Portland. He moved to Portland in 1900.
Oh, did you say Coulter?
Coulter, yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Coulter. I think I have the largest Frank Coulter collection of anybody that I've ever heard of. Anyway, I have a half dozen more instruments than these actually, but so he was kind of an interesting guy.
How old are those? What?
Well, he was practicing here from 1900 to in the late 20s, maybe until the late 20s. But that cabinet below is really nice. It looks like a Krenov or something. Yeah, it's a beast of a thing. I just had that built last year, but I think these are the drawers you were looking at. I love these drawers.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Wow.
These crazy full extension drawers, right?
Oh, nice.
I know. So I guess they
are you watching?
They use these the glides are kind of expensive, but they use them for those toolboxes that they have on the ends of pickup trucks. The bed. They'll flop the bed down and they'll have these tool things that come out.
Yeah.
These tool. Yeah. So anyway, the full extension. And let's see. And this is my neck station that I built this thing like, I don't know, maybe 30 years, like 25 years ago, maybe, or something like that. So I've had a long time, but I use this right here. The neck support thing is a really early Stu Mac neck support thing that they made. They would use phenolic before they started making it out of, aluminum or other materials, so anyway, I have this little thing right here. This is when you have a twisted neck, you can clamp a board onto the end of your headstock, and you can kind of heat up the board, and then from here you basically can pressure the headstock with the board on it like that, so it can twist it back. Anyway,
How long do
So
you heat the neck up for that kind of thing?
I usually do it in maybe 45 minutes to an hour.
Hmm.
Heat the neck up 45 minutes to an hour, and then just increase the pressure,
Hmm.
and then try to twist it back anyway. So it works pretty good actually.
Yeah.
And then let's see, that's just my really messy corner. Here's my storage thing there, which I kind of like those.
Yeah, it's a
Anyway,
good idea to have the Lowe's doors.
yeah. And then
Daniel was asking what temperature on the neck twist.
what temperature?
Yeah.
I don't know actually. I use a do you have one of those, or have you ever seen one of I have a neck heater.
Is it like what is it, Aria or?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, they're hard to find. Let me see. I can try to see if I can pull this down so you can look at it. Because if you can find one of these things, they're the bomb.
I know somebody was trying to do like a recreation of those, but yeah, the original Aria neck heaters are challenging to find.
Yeah. That's so it has these
It's a nice clamp that goes with it.
yeah, so it has these all these parts to it. So this of course goes underneath the neck. And, this goes on top of it, or on top of it this way anyway. But anyway,
this is from like the 70s or 80s or something, or like
I don't know. I don't think so. I had one of my students in that I had about 3 or 4 years ago. I had this student, and he told me that he bought one of these things, one of these Arias, and he said he had bought it. He purchased it about 2 years before that. So I don't know. So maybe 6 years ago or something. But since then, people have looked for it, and they're not available.
Is it the same Aria that built guitars? Like, is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's the same company. Anyway, yeah.
Mine says Aria Japan on it.
Yeah.
So it's a Japanese thing.
Yeah, let's see.
I think the Aria guitars were Japanese too. Oh yeah, it's the same Aria. Okay.
Yeah. So there's where
does not go to 11.
Yeah.
So does that clamp straight onto the fretboard or frets? Do you use any spacers for radiant heat or anything?
Yeah, well, it doesn't always sit. It doesn't sit on the. It doesn't sit flat. It sits on the frets, okay. or sometimes you can. Sometimes I will put little wooden, little small wooden spacers. Like for instance, if you're trying to put some bow in the neck, then what you can do is you can put a little spacer right where you want the bow to be, and then you can put this thing on top of it, and then it just basically pulls up on the end of the neck. You set the clamp on the end of the neck, and it pulls it up, and while it's heating anyway. So,
Harry, how'd you
those
get
clamps? Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Were those clamps part of the neck heater?
Yes.
Or did you? Huh. Mine doesn't have any of that stuff.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Doesn't have the little side bracket thing on it or anything. It's just the metal box.
Oh, okay. Now I had one that was like that. It wasn't an Aria though, and it was just a straight bar that you could heat up. So.
Harry, where'd you get the True Value fastener bins I saw over there?
What now?
Oh, the fastener bins. You got a whole set of like True Value fastener bins over, yeah, to the right there. Oh, no, keep going, like right there.
Oh, these?
Yeah.
My friend Paul Bistro,
Yeah.
he just was getting rid of them, and that's where I got those from.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, parts are always nice to have a place to put parts. I'll show you this. So this one, I set this up this morning. I thought of any of the jigs, I'm kind of proudest of this for right now. This was my what do you call it? COVID project. And I decided to build a side bending jig, and use all the best ideas. And of course, a bunch of them I got from Charles and my friend Mark Roberts, But so the thing that was the coolest thing about this is that the mold itself, the shape of it is just three pieces. So they're just like this. They're just three pieces like that, and that's all you have to have for a mold. It's just like that, and then they sit in this box right here, and you might even just be able to see a little bit. Right there's three pieces in there, like that. And so if you want to make a new shape, it literally will take you about 2 hours to do, and that's it. And
Cool.
You can have a whole complete shape. Of course, you got to have the outside mold, but still, and then I got the what do they call it, the controller, I guess, which is different than just using a rheostat. I guess a rheostat just it limits the amount of electricity that goes to your blanket, but it's not a true controller. I guess a true controller will turn the heat on and off and try to keep it at a certain level, So anyway, so I ended up spending the money to get one of those things. And anyway,
Kerry, what's the perfect?
It's cool. It's like it's like a universal wasting system, right?
yeah, right, correct.
Oh yeah, look at this.
Yeah, you unloosen these parts right here, and then this will just conform to whatever your waist is, right?
Wow,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
that's great.
Yeah.
Kerry, what's the perforated material that's backing the side material there?
It's basically, it's just perforated stainless. We have we have a company that actually does that here in Portland, and so we just go down, and they have these machines that just punch holes in sheet stainless. So
where do you
do you prefer the perforation versus like the spring steel? Is there a benefit to have it perforated?
Well, I like the perforation because it allows the moisture to escape.
Okay.
So, but in between here, I don't have it all in here, but it gets the heating blanket. This heating blanket gets in there, and then we usually wrap the wood in butcher paper, so that gets put in there as well. So you get that whole sandwich in this thing, and you turn it on, and there's also a piece of spring steel, which I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if I can. It's right here, actually, and that keeps the pressure, underneath. It's kind of important to have some pressure, counter pressure to the waist, So anyway, so there's that. And then of course, as you're bending it, you just pull this thing around, this thing gives it some pressure like that. And then these things, you crank these things down with, I kind of modified one of those little ratchet things that you get from Harbor Freight,
Well,
Anyway.
where do you source those aluminum extrusions from?
Which ones? Oh, these?
Yeah.
You can get that online. you know, I can't. You have to call it the right thing though, which I don't even know what to call them. Well, I don't remember what
80/20 aluminum extrusion. The last bunch I bought off Walmart online, and it was beautiful. Like
Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart was selling it.
Wow. Yeah, I just buy it. I just buy it online. You know, they'll have guys that they usually they'll usually sell it used, so it's a little cheaper. You know, the only thing about them I will say though is that you have to make sure that all the fittings are correct for the extrusion that you get. There's all these kind of fittings like like this stuff here, and anything that goes into the channels. Those are all, behind these bolts. They have little inserts in there, and they're all kind of specific to the extrusion that you get, But they're super cool. Like like something like this, where it's taking a right angle. You just bolt it. You just bolt it from the bottom, and it's just solid.
Mm-hmm.
No welding. So yeah, you can make a lot of stuff with these extrusions anyway. But so anyway, that's my little jig that I like. I'm proud of anyway.
That's very nice. That's really
thanks.
fun. And that universal waste mechanism is really a superior idea.
Yeah. Thanks.
Dan Earlywine wants to see that nice little bandsaw.
Oh, that's it's just one of those Harbor Freight bandsaws.
Yeah.
And so they're just metal cutting. And what I did was I just made this box, so it just sits in it, like that, and I can just use it like a normal bandsaw. But I love this thing. It's fantastic. And I think the Harbor Freight brand was like Bauer, which you can buy these there. I mean, if you bought like an expensive Makita or something like that, they're pretty expensive. But I think the Bauer I think I paid $100 for it. That's it. So
yeah.
And you just have to make this this little the little table, and you have to screw it into. There's a couple of holes that hold some kind of a bracket on there that you have to, and that's the only two holes that you can tap into the hold the table on. But it seems to be adequate. But that's the only tricky part, is to make your table. There's a bunch of YouTube stuff on guys who have made all sorts of versions of they have adapted all kinds of different ways to make these old bandsaws be just a regular bandsaw, not a handheld one. So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
How is the two wheels look like they're at about 45 degrees to the blade, which is coming out kind of, like a typical. How does that work?
It I don't know why, but it twists the blade. See that?
Yeah.
Somehow that's the way it works. It's kind of twisted, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, but that's what they do.
Well, they're handheld for like cutting metal, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah.
Cool.
I don't know if the twisting has anything to do with with it, if it has to be that way or not to make it track or something. I'm not sure. So anyway,
I think it just gives more access.
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like those
Anyway.
bearings would run hotter though, but yeah.
Doesn't run very fast though.
Oh,
It's
that's true. Yeah.
metal cutting, so it runs pretty slow.
Yeah.
It's pretty loud though. I will say I usually use earphones when I when I run that thing. So anyway.
Ian,
Well, anyway,
Brock posted a picture. Maybe it was Doug, but it looks like Stu Mack are going to start selling a side bending machine with
a picture of what?
Oh, Charles and Stu Mack are I think moments away from selling a side
Are you there?
bending machine that was
Oh.
designed by Charles.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Stu Mack. I'm sorry, I got far away from my microphone. Stu Mack, when Doug and everybody was out there, Brock showed us the bending machine that they've been working with Charles on for years, but it's about ready to come out. I'm sure you must know about it. Charles must have told you about it. Or maybe
He-
not.
Well, he did, but I thought that basically that thing didn't work out with them, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
the dust collector that's back there. You got a Cyclone?
yeah, I just bought this recently. All this. I'm trying to renovate my basement, and all this stuff is going to go downstairs. But yeah, I just got
Okay.
this grizzly dust collector.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, that's it.
I saw
Cool.
you can order Grizzly through Home Depot now.
Really?
Yeah. I saw that on Instagram and I thought, oh no, if my local Home Depot starts selling like really nice Grizzly stuff, I'm in trouble.
Oh, interesting.
What do you think, Beau? Should we let Kerry get on with his beautiful Sunday afternoon and
Yeah, I think
Oregon?
yeah. Thank you so much, Kerry, for taking the time to
Yeah, well, thank you guys. I really appreciate the time.
Kerry, this was awesome.
Appreciate
And,
all that you guys are doing, actually.
And if you think
Great
of
stuff.
anything we can do, feel free to drop me a line. If you've got anybody that you're like, this guy needs to, I'd like to talk to this guy or whatever, like we'll set it up. So
This was a great interview. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us.
yeah.
Thanks, Kerry. It's really
Yeah.
great.
Thank you. That was great. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Thank
met
you.
Kerry
Thank you,
years
Kerry.
ago, and I knew he went deep. And
Uh-huh.
now I know how deep.
Dan, where did you meet Kerry?
Out at GAL.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
right,
Very
Yeah.
impressive show.
right.
And Beau, thank you for making this happen, man. Like this was really good. And
Pleasure. It was just a narcissistic way of talking to someone I wanted to talk to for ages.
cool.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kerry, for what you
Yeah, well, thank you guys. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah.
All right, the Luth along is in full effect. So